I've got some empty pots that we've harvested, and it is time to start replanting them. So I'm going to show you how I revitalize our potting soil. First thing I do is I just dump it into a wheelbarrow or on a tarp or in some sort of a container so I can mix other stuff into it. I'm just going to go through this and see if there's any big root clods or anything. This looks pretty good. It's not bad looking soil. I've got one more I'm going to do here. This one has been sitting for a little bit. Some weeds grew in it since we pulled the veggies out. So now I'm going to dump this one in too. This one has a lot of root material in it, so I want to break this all down. Ooh, it breaks down really easy though. Sometimes it doesn't. If it dries out, it can be kind of like a big ball of cement. Okay, so there's the soil from these two large pots. It's not bad looking soil, but looks can be deceiving. There were plants in those pots that were using nutrients the whole time they were growing. And I want to make sure that the next group of seeds or transplants that go in these pots have everything they need to give me the best harvest possible. Today I'm using a wheelbarrow. So this wheelbarrow is about half full. I'm going to fill it the other half full with compost. When I'm revitalizing soil, I like to use about a mix of half used soil and half brand new compost, and then just mix them up really good. That's adding a lot of nutrition to the soil, as well as there's lots of live microorganisms in the compost that are really beneficial to the plants. So I went and bagged up some of the compost to carry it over. It's not 100% broken down, but it's got a lot of perlite in it from all of the cuttings that we were doing earlier this year, so a little different look than normal. I need to go get some more, I think. I'm gonna just start to stir it up. You can use a shovel. For me, it's just easy to just use my hands like I'm making, you know, bread dough or something. So this is the soil. Then the next thing I'm gonna do is add some of this Dr. Earth's. Now, if I had composted chicken manure or rabbit manure or something like that left, I would go ahead and put that in there probably instead of this, but I used all that in my garden, so I'm gonna be using this. It's an organic slow release fertilizer, so this stuff contains nutrients and bacteria that helps the plants absorb the nutrients. So I'm just gonna grab a couple handfuls and we'll mix that in. If you're lucky enough to have worm castings, add worm castings. I would just put a couple handfuls in there and mix it in. I am all out of worm castings, or they'd be going in as well. Now those two large containers that I just emptied had no pests or bacterial or fungal issues, but if they did, I would want to deal with that before I replanted them. If there's a pest issue, usually just spreading the soil out on a tarp and letting it dry out really good takes care of that pretty well. Especially like fungus gnats can often be an issue in planters. The larva will die off if the soil gets completely dried out really well. And you don't have to throw your soil out if you had fungus or bacterial issues. The best way to deal with that is heating your soil. And there's different ways to do that. But you just have to remember, it kills all of the bad things as well as the good things. This time of year, a really easy way to get your soil hot enough is just take this pot and put it in your car. If you put it in your car on a hot day, the temperature of your car will probably get pretty toasty. You can keep a thermometer in there to see how hot it gets. For water molds, you need to heat it up to 120 for about 30 minutes. For most viruses, bacteria, things like slugs and centipedes, you're gonna wanna heat it up to 145 degrees for 30 minutes. And the most heat resistant viruses need to be at 212 for 30 minutes. And that will wipe them out and make your soil basically dead, so then you have to add life back to it. That's where the regular compost comes in, the worm compost comes in, things like Dr. Earth with the beneficial bacteria added. All those things bring life back into your soil after you've cooked it to death. I'll go show you what we did to our lawn last year from having a sliding glass door on the grass for over a week. So these dead patches on the grass right here and right here have been there since last summer. They were completely barren. They looked 100% like that. It's been over a year and they're just now starting to grow grass back. Okay, weeds. They're growing weeds back. But it got really hot under that glass and just killed all life. And And if you don't want to put your dirty soil into your vehicle, you can put a window pane on top of this and let the sun just shine right through and bake your dirt. Or you can put a black tarp on top of it till it reaches the minimum degrees that you want it to get to. Oh, and another tip is make sure the soil is really wet before you try to kill it with heat, because that moisture will absorb the heat. Like smaller little planters full of dirt, people have baked them in their oven to make sure that they've killed things out, especially fungus gnats. Those things are really annoying. That's all I've got for today. So until next time, see ya.